Hello, and welcome to What Am I Doing, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is...
Lewis McCaffery.
Welcome back, Lewis McCaffery.
Thanks
you,
for
joining
Kinsey.
us.
Thank you very much.
I'm talking like you're a guest.
Yeah, well, you did invite me here. I am in your home, so thank you. I appreciate it.
That's okay. Obviously, all the doors are locked. You can't leave. So, which actually, for some people, things being locked, let's just expand on that. Maybe there could be a safe word that can get you out. Okay. Maybe there are rules.
Have I got to... Is this what this is now? I have to guess a safe word throughout this podcast?
Well, no.
Okay.
but this week's topic is rules.
Oh, okay.
And with that, let's go. So today's topic is rules. Not just any rules, D&D rules.
The best kind.
Yes, the best kind. We only live by them. Nothing in the world is worth following. I'm 15. I've never had a girlfriend. And with that, how and when rules and how and when to apply them. Is the rule of cool vital to good D&D experience? Or should all D&D be played thoroughly by the pages of the player's handbook? Lewis, as always, I come to you, I can't even speak. I come to you because I've just read it and I know you don't know it and I forgot because I wrote this a long time ago. Lewis, when I was 15, I drank a bottle of vodka, ran down a hill naked and almost tore a ligament in my knee.
It was you.
I like to think this would not happen to me in D&D because of rolling. What am I doing in life? And if it is a ruling in D&D, how do I apply it? Over to you.
Thank you. I don't know if I can top that. No, okay. So...
That is a true story, by the way.
Wait, really? I really hope it is.
Yeah, I'm not creative. It was just an experience.
Okay, we are definitely discussing that more later. But anyway,
that's for the Patreon.
What are you doing after hours?
What am I doing after dark?
Anyway, so rules. You mentioned the rule of cool, things like that. Rules are obviously important. One thing I will say straight off the bat, I'm not a rules lawyer, but there are certain people, obviously, that everything has to stick to the rules. I'm not exactly like that, but I do like things being... generally speaking, follow the rules, because if you're going to earn something, if you're going to finish a quest, you want to know you've done it right.
It's a good guide.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good guide.
But it's also one of those things where, as a DM, if someone tries something that, like I said, follows the rule of cool, it is genuinely an amazing use of a spell or a mechanic, then I will more often than not allow them to try it at the very least.
If I see a mother lift a bus to save her child, I'm not going to ask her strength stats. I'm impressed, and that's enough for me. I don't need to get out the book and ask her what class she is.
To be fair, though, I would love to see that. I would love to see you just lying down next to this bus, flipping through the player's handbook. I wouldn't be surprised if you did. I would
like a little schoolgirl. You know when your feet are up in the air, your hands are under your chin, you're picking daisies.
Please do that.
Next to a bus.
We've now got the art for this podcast. I love it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I totally agree. I am an absolute stickler for people who are sticklers when it comes to rules because I just want to have fun. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And if you're there to beat the game, beat the players and beat the DM, then
it does ruin it. For
you're not allowed at my pajama parties. So we'll get to the questions. That's what everyone's here for. And I will say, like the opening scenario, I wrote this a while ago, and I'm pretty sure I was smarter then. I'll give you the first question. Do you ever deject the rule to amplify the experience? What does that look like, Lewis?
I don't know. Okay, yes. So none necessarily spring to mind right now, but yes, if there is a rule that goes against what players are trying to do, but it makes sense in the moment, because I very much follow a common sense approach with a lot of things, where if it is possible in a logical world or logical scenario, then yes, I will let someone try it. If that goes against standard D&D rules, then so be it. Obviously, that doesn't mean that D&D rules are irrelevant or that they should all just be ignored, but it's a important balance, I think. It needs to feel like a real world while still being restricted to the rules of a real world.
It's player experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's gonna, it's not as if like, oh, they won't do it without this, because then you probably didn't build the situation as a DM very well, that they needed to cheat. But if it's a situation where you go, do you know what, they thought out of the box here, or actually in this particular moment, that works really well, it's very fitting, then I don't see what the problem is with that.
No,
and you
I
do have it where
completely
other players in the same team who will only benefit from it will counter it as if they're doing the old Caesar, they're sticking the knife in the back, when actually it literally benefits them and it improves, like, player playability, and fun and experience.
Yeah, like you said, I would be one of those players that object if it is something that, like you said, if it is basically cheating in order to complete a quest or to do a certain thing. If you have to bend the rules in order to do it, I don't think it's worth it.
I feel like it could be, when like you see a DM go, oh yeah, all right. It's almost like borderline favoritism, or the DM can't be bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they've just given up now.
Yeah.
Whether that's because you guys suck as players, or because actually they're fucking sick of DMing for me.
Yeah.
Which is more likely.
Probably. Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think. But like I said, if it makes sense logically, and if it follows like a rule of cool, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with bending the rules a little.
Okay. A homebrew campaign or a West Marches server may involve rule making outside of Wizards material. Is there like a bullet point set of rules that you try to stick by or guide?
Not necessarily. It's
no particular rule that you just like to keep in your drawer by your bed?
Again, not necessarily, or not ones that jump to mind. To be fair, there are ones to do with one specific rule, for example, with death saves. I know officially, I believe that if you get a natural 20, then on a death save, then you are stabilised. I don't like to run it that way. I prefer natural 20, meaning 2 successes, just because it adds that
tension.
It adds a bit more tension. There are sometimes, if I'm running a campaign, I might prefer those death saves to be rolled behind a screen for players, not necessarily by me, but by the players, so that everyone else around the table wouldn't know.
The anticipation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get it first. No. I'm so sorry.
No, you did it, and we didn't plan it, which you can tell.
But yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Are there any rules that you?
I live by the death roll.
Death roll.
Yes, the death save. I mean, I've been there many times.
Make a death save every morning when you get up and stretch your back.
I roll a death save before I turn this podcast on.
Fair enough.
Before I listen to my own voice.
I rolled initiative. So
that's why you go second in this podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm definitely ruler cool because I'm just not good at reading, and
you could have fooled me.
I just want it to be fun. I think it's way more important. If you're going to DM for it, I would rather it not feel like a contest. I want people to I don't want people to be playing against me. I don't want people to be playing against each other unless the experience makes sense for it. And so I'm not like, halt, who goes there? That's not what the... I mean, if they're literally outright rolling bad, that's the roll of the dice, I'm not going to swap it out, but...
It's, making sure it still makes sense. Obviously, You're not going to abandon the rules completely, but
so, as always, this is a short podcast. We have one more question.
Amazing.
Do you like adding rules that players may bring up during the session? For instance, I don't know every rule. I just said that I don't read. If there's not something that you just had in mind in that moment, and a player goes, well, actually, there's this. do you think sometimes you can be hesitant because a player's brought up the rule rather than you as the DM? Like, that's your side of the line, you know, like, oh no, I get to make the rules, that's not how this is, you're the player. Whether it benefits the player or not, sometimes they can do it. Even sometimes it's literally against their own team. But, do you take that into account?
Yeah, I don't necessarily, if a player brings up a rule that I'm unfamiliar with or that I've forgotten, no, I won't.
You welcome it.
Yeah, exactly. I won't be against listening to that. I think that sometimes players can get a bit too trigger happy with knowing something that they think the DM has forgotten, which, fair enough, like you said, we can't, as DMs, we can't always be expected to know everything. We are going to forget things, or just simply be unaware. The amount of material that is out there, we are going to be unaware of some things.
Yeah, but also I think some of those, when they're trigger happy with the rules, it's quite often that's them beating the game. Like, that's them. They're there to like prove that they know something more. And that's really not like anyone in mind. It's just some people just love rules, whether it be D&D or something else, and that transfers over to everything they do. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not exactly fun.
No, it can ruin it sometimes. But I think, like you said, sometimes, let's say if we want to ignore a rule in order to allow the rule of cool, or in order to add a bit more enjoyment to the session because it makes logical sense, and then a player blurts out that you have forgotten a rule, it should be this, and we shouldn't be allowed to do that. It is then, obviously, it puts, I think, you in an uncomfortable position of having to either say, well, yes, I did know about the rule, but I'm choosing to ignore it, or backtrack on what you wanted to allow the players to do.
It instantly feels like a debate.
Yeah.
When actually the experience is like there on the table, not the two people going back and forth in person or on like Roll20. You know, that's where it should be. It shouldn't be this. You're taking out the time of the game, and you're kind of taking people out of character.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I know that some players will genuinely just be saying it to try and be helpful, and it's always nice to have players that are understanding that, like you said, we can't know everything.
Yeah, I genuinely don't mind it at all. Yeah, to me, it's way more helpful. I feel like I've learnt a lot from playing. Yeah. But I'm never going out my way to like sit there and like just absorb it all from the handbook. So when players do bring it up, it's just a difference. I think it's like how people approach it. You know, when they almost, that's why they joined. There's a difference. Yeah. You know, and that's like everyone can learn from that is when to speak and when not to.
Trying to be helpful versus trying to win.
Which is ironic because we have a podcast where we just speak at people. So that's we've not learned on this.
That is true.
Absolutely. And,
we are the people we hate.
You have become swore to destroy. So with that, really quick one. Our longest podcast yet, but no one wants a long podcast about rules, not with D&D. So enjoy your D&D sessions, everybody. I'm being really nice this time round.
Yeah, this is weird.
I don't know why. I feel weird about it. I think it's rules. I'm trying to lighten it. I'm trying to lighten the load.
It's the bottle of vodka you downed before the podcast.
Well, I ran down a hill. Makes complete sense. So with that, today's adventure is sadly coming to a close, but we're back again next week with the topic, do I quit my job as a wallpaper technician to become a singer? I'm Connor Kinsey.
And I'm Lewis McCaffery.
And see you next time.
Goodbye.